the knitting retreat that started it all. And the reason I started podcasting, Gather, the Grocery Girls Retreat, What Am I Wearing? So I'm trying a little new something today. So hopefully this angle works. And I figure, you know, from down is a better angle than if you're coming from up, right? And I just thought I'd try something different. My husband got a fancy new monitor for Christmas. And so I'm using it as a mount for my tripod, which is what my camera's sitting on. And so I'll have to take a picture of the setup because like everything in his office glows. It's all lit up. So I'll be showing you that. Okay, so it hasn't been too long since we were together last. The last one I talked about everything that I knit in 2025. And so today I'm actually gonna be talking about how we started 2026. And it's been a great year so far. It is Monday, February 16th, I think, and it's in the States, it is President's Day. So we celebrate George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Their birthdays were in the same week. And so in the US, President's Day celebrates those two big birthdays on the Monday. It's like the third Monday in February. So no work for most of us today, those of us who work especially in the public sector. Like I work in a school, and my husband works as a government contractor. And so we both have today off. So this is fantastic. I realized I didn't even do an intro. So here's my intro. Hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Becky and I am a good enough girl. I try to make things that are, I don't want to be Pinterest perfect, but I do want to make sure things are good enough. So I strive for average and for good enough. And I'm glad you're here, and hopefully you can, this can help you take your perfectionism down a little bit, or just appreciate where you're at in comparison to where I'm at. So thanks for joining us. And remember to, I have to say this at the beginning, like, subscribe, hit the bell so that way you know you get notifications every time that I post. And please share it with somebody. So if you have some yarny friends out there who really enjoy just having, I mean, for me, it's just somebody to talk in the background. It's kind of like, sometimes it's just background noise. And sometimes I feel like I'm listening to my friends talk. I can see myself smiling as they're talking. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I can understand that. I totally agree with that. That's me. So hopefully you and your friends can find a way to join me in that. All right. So a lot happened in the last week and a half since we talked. I'm going to start off right now by what am I wearing? Because you might be, well, I'm impressed. So I'm hoping it's going to rub off on you that you're going to be super impressed by me too. This is my Yun sweater. I cast this on New Year's Eve. So it was December 31st, 2025. And I love the way it turned out. And so you'll see I'm wearing my fancy pajama bottoms with the coffee cups on them and the cats. And so this sweater turned out perfectly. It's exactly the length that I wanted. It has that nice high slit on the side and some really cool raglan shaping that comes down the shoulders. And I decided to continue it down the center under the arms as well. And actually, I saw somebody else's, Melissa, who was at a knitting retreat with me last week, and she actually had the ribbon going down the whole side panel, which was really cool. So if I make another one, I think I'm going to do that just like Melissa did. The yarn that I used is New Wave Fibres, Hazel. It's in Cabernet is the colorway. And little Lido, the sheep, was actually, he's a weather sheep, W-E-T-H-E-R. I found out that is the castrated males. And so they don't have to worry about the ladies. They only have to worry about making beautiful yarn. And so he did, and I'm super excited. So this has Angora, it has Alpaca, and it also has the Romneydale wool. Beautiful, just beautiful. And so I'm very excited. This took me actually 33 days to knit. Took me 3 extra days to get it woven in and blocked, but it just, I'm so excited with how it turned out. And I had dithered back and forth on this neckline. And so it's supposed to have a folded neck, kind of like that, but I didn't want that. I love a funnel neck. I found I made the broom sweater last year, and I just love the kind of the stand-up neck. And so I decided to keep it this way. So that's one of the alterations that I made. And the great thing is you don't have to decide what size you're gonna make until you're almost done with the raglan increases. And so that I was kind of 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, kind of trying to figure it out as I went down. And then I was going back and forth, and my friend Angela kind of talked me off the ledge and helped me figure out what size that I should do. I think many of us, as I've been talking to people, many of us tend to go bigger rather than smaller because you want to make sure that it fits so you can actually put it on. So you never want it to be too small. So I think many of us will often go too high and too big. And so that's been a kind of a trend in a lot of my making, that I've had to take sweaters out because they were just too big. And I wasn't using reality and measurements as my guide like I should have. So this one turned out beautifully. I think I made a size 6 when all was said and done. And I probably could have even gone down to a 5, but this it's supposed to have up to 12 inches of positive ease, which for me felt like it would be a little bit too much. So I don't have quite that much, but I have maybe 8 to 10 inches. And it's perfect. It's super comfortable. I don't feel any itchy or scratchiness. I am definitely, I can tell that it's there just a little bit from probably from the wool and or the alpaca, but as I'm wearing it, it doesn't bother me a bit. So I did have to do a lot of alternating skeins since this is hand dyed yarn, and I don't recall if it was all done in the same batch or not. So basically I just did a lot of alternating skeins. Once I got through like 3/4 of one skein, I would start doing some alternating. I learned how to do helical knitting on this one, so that was one of my skills that I unlocked with this sweater. And yeah, so I'm pretty proud of this, and I'm very happy, and I love wearing it. And I'm starting to finally have a little bit of a me-made wardrobe where I actually want to wear the stuff that I've made, and I'm really enjoying it. So now I gotta crank some more stuff out. So that's 2026's plan. This is crank stuff out here. So last week I was able to go to basically the knitting retreat that started it all for me. So I went to the Grocery Girls retreat in Canmore, Alberta, Canada, and it's called the Fiber Folk Retreat. It's hosted by the Grocery Girls and also the ladies from Knit Social, Amanda and Fiona. And this was my first retreat I went to ever last year, and then I had to come back, and a bunch of the people that I met last year were there. So it just reminded me kind of the connections and the friendships that you can make through this making community that you really don't necessarily see all the time in person, but you do see them online sometimes. You meet them out in the real world, and then you're able to really become friends with these people. And so that was definitely something that I noticed over the course of the year, from the time I went to the first retreat until this one. And so it was spectacular. This is actually the retreat and the reason I started podcasting, because I had been watching a number of different podcasts, including the Grocery Girls. And I really loved the community it created. I loved feeling like there's someone out there to talk to about this instead of just being on my couch sitting and knitting by myself. And so they kind of inspired me to really turn this into a podcast instead of just a channel where I did some unboxing videos and things like that. So hopefully you're here and you're enjoying it. And if you are, you can thank the Grocery Girls for that, because they were really the ones that motivated me to get started with this. So let me tell you a little bit more about Canmore. Ooh. All right. Oh, and I'm drinking my honey boba tea, honey pearl milk tea. It's great having a kid who drives, because he went to go get some stuff and take stuff to a friend's house. And so I got a boba tea on his way home. Very good. Okay. So the retreat was spectacular. So this year it's in Canmore, Alberta, Canada, and it's always the same, kind of the first weekend in February, which also happens to overlap with the Super Bowl. So I missed it last year, and this year I watched the game, but I had to watch it in Canada versus watching it in America. And in America, since it's an American event, they have like these crazy commercials that happen. And so I don't really get to see the crazy commercials, and I can't really be like focused and intent on the game and the activities, because I'm sitting in a bar at an airport watching it probably from 30 feet back. So, and this year the Seahawks are in the championships. So go Hawks. We did it. All right. We're Super Bowl champions again. So it was a big game for us, and not a super exciting game for us because it didn't move along real quickly, but it was a great outcome. I actually almost missed my flight because I was in the bar and I was like, I'm gonna watch Bad Bunny and I'm not leaving until Bad Bunny is done. So I stayed at the airport in the bar and forgot how far it was to my gate. So I was like, okay, so I watched the whole thing. I loved it. It was just like, if you can't dance to that, you got no rhythm in your body, you got no soul, because you move as soon as that music starts. And so I loved watching it. And so I had to wait till it was finished. And then as soon as it finished, I was literally like, grabbed my stuff and ran to my gate, forgot how far it was. They were calling my name in the terminal. So, but I was at a place where I couldn't even hear my name. So what did I care? But luckily I got there. I was one of the last few people to board. And so that all worked out. But I was excited to kind of be a part of the home experience for the team, even though I wasn't at home. But it was really fun to kind of root for the Seahawks anywhere that I am. So that was a really fun day. That's the only downside of the retreat, is that I'm not home for Super Bowl Sunday. Other than that, totally amazing, worth it. And I will give up football every year to go hang out with the grocery girls and Amanda and Fiona of Knit Social. They're the ones that do the organizing of the actual event. And then all my friends who I met there. And I'll probably forget a whole bunch of names since I'm just doing this. I don't have a list. But Angela and Julie and Holly, we all kind of palled around again this year. We had met last year, and it was really fun to kind of reconnect and spend some actual quality time with them. We are already planning for our next retreat with them. We are going to do a knit along. So we've already started figuring out what are we doing for next year. And it's actually a whole year away, and I planned and I got my yarn. It's back there. So I'll talk about that in a little bit with my future knits. But it was fun hanging out with them, and the event was just great. So Alex Bird was there. She's an Estonian designer. She brought some kind of modernized Estonian knitting techniques, and we learned how to do those, and it was really, really, really cool. I do think I have some of that over here. So let me grab out my samples that I made. Let's see. So many fun things in here. All right, so this is what we made with Alex. So it's very cool. It's basically kind of a floating color work, a mock intarsia, if you will. And it's a very cool technique. It was easier than I thought it would be. And so now I just have to weave in the ends, and essentially this is going to be my little coffee cozy. And so it was really, really fun to learn. So if you ever have a chance to take a class from Alex Bird, or kind of dig a little bit into either her patterns and her books, take the opportunity, because it was a very cool technique. And I was surprised at how simple it was compared to like the intricacies of actual Estonian knitting, which is on like 000 needles, super, super tiny yarn. And I can't imagine being able to make any of the things that those amazing Estonian designers are doing. But that was very cool. So Alex Bird was one of the classes we took. And then the grocery girls were our other class, which was super cool, because most of the time we've just had them as hosts. And so this time we actually got to take a little training from them, which I loved. And so their class was about embellishing your knits and taking them from drab to fab. And so the class was great. So we learned how to do some embroidery, like the Lazy Daisy stitch. We actually did some duplicate stitch, which I really enjoyed, because I'm thinking I could do like some of those doodles from Jamie Lomax in her doodle directory pretty easily after I finish my knitting, and then I can put it on top if I'm still feeling like I need that vibe. And I won't have to do it while I'm working, so it's a little less fiddly. So we learned how to do duplicate stitch. We learned how to add some beading to our work. You can see this is just a hot mess of stuff. And then we did a little crochet edging. So there's a picot edge, the bobble edge, which I hadn't finished yet, but and then I think this is called the scallop edge. So yeah, so I learned some cool stuff. This over here is a beginning of cross stitch on top of my knits. I don't think I love cross stitch, so I'm gonna probably skip that one, but I really did love the duplicate stitch and the beading and the embroidery. So that's gonna be definitely some stuff that I'm gonna take with me from that class. So that was amazing. It's fun. Like, it's all fun. We went to high tea on Thursday. And so we got to do a little pinky up, drinking our tea, and just amazing at I think it's the Banff Fairmont. Probably that's not the name of it, but it was in Banff at the Fairmont, and it was a delicious tea, and it was really cool to kind of hang out with people before we actually started everything. And then on Thursday night, everything got started, and we had a dinner, and we played some games, and we had some fun. Oh, Alex did a talk about Estonian knitting, so we learned a little bit about the history and the how-tos of Estonian knitting. And then we took our classes during the days. We had some breaks as well. So it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel busy. It just felt just right. And I love being able to learn stuff while also having a really good time with my friends. Because I don't often sign up for classes when I'm at home, but I really enjoyed having the classes going and kind of that being just part of my schedule. And so we had dinners every night, which was great. And the grocery girls love to play games, and so does Amanda and Fiona of Knit Social. And so we played bingo. We played there was like a trivia with knitting stuff. And so like, what was the ancient civilization credited with creating knitting? And it was Egypt. And there was a lot of back and forth and disputes and disagreements. It's like, hey, that's what Google said. That's what we're going with. So, but that was really fun. And then one night we did it was like a knitting relay race. That was crazy. And I have to say, so I got to be on a team with Angela, Julie, and Holly, who I'd mentioned before, and then also Amanda and Fiona and Susan. And so basically the goal was you had to take a mini skein, wind it up, cast on, do 5 rows of garter, 10 rows of stockinette, and then 5 rows of garter and bind off. And the team that finished out first was the winner. And so we're kind of the advanced class. So we had Fiona on winding, and I'm going to put a video in here somewhere of her winding a ball. Apparently she winds her own balls by hand just cause. Like, even if she has a ball winder available, she likes to wind her balls by hand. So she was like lightning as she was, going through this thing. We had to cut all the ends and get it all ready to skein up. And Susan was like this, going through as we were unballing it. And I'm like, well, we have one tail, so why don't we start casting on with one tail? So then we had Holly underneath casting on while they were up above winding. And then they told us, you can't start until the first step is done. You have to have your whole thing balled up. That was a later rule. So as a result, we had to take out all of the stuff we had started. But ultimately, we were the champions because the other 2 teams had already won. The other 2 teams that won ahead of us, first and second place, they'd already won prizes so they were disqualified. So thankfully we kept going and we got 3rd place. And so as a result, we actually were the winners. And it was really quite fun because we kind of learned a little bit about each other as we were going through this high. I mean, the pressure felt so incredible, even though all we were doing was making a swatch. And so like Amanda and I, you could tell we felt the pressure and we were really nervous about it. And I know I'm not a very fast knitter. And so I was trying to just do my part to do as much as I could. And poor Holly, she was going to be doing the bind off. And I was still going and she's like, give it to me. I love you, but you need to give it to me. You are too slow. And so she's not wrong. So I was like, here, take it, go. And she was able to kind of blow through it and get it bound off, and we did win. But it was really fun to kind of all of us take a little role, and some of us that were really great at certain things. And like Angela was the cast on. I think it was Holly that did the cast on, and then Angela did the garter stitching. I think that's how it went. I don't even remember, it was going so fast, but it was really fun. So I would love to do that every time, and maybe I'll get faster and faster every year. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but I could. And then on Saturday there's always a vendor event in most of the retreats that I go to. And so there was a vendor event with lots of different people selling wonderful, beautiful things. And so I tried to support as many as I could. So I got some really beautiful blown glass stitch markers. I got some fiber that I'll show you from one of the vendors as well. And there was these bags. People were dying over these bags. I think it was Pink Hazel is the bag company, and they're really cool. So I'll put a picture up here of that bag. People were lined up at the door to get these bags because she had made some exclusive ones for the retreat that were kind of denim on the outside with a big buffalo check on the inside, so very Western inspired. She lives in Amsterdam, and so that was kind of her vision for it. And there was cute little polar bears hidden in the pockets, and it was just really cool. And so people were waiting outside to get into that. And so a lot of people got that. I love a bag, and I don't ever want to be left out. So I got a little bucket bag and I got a big bag, and I'll grab that and show that to you in a little bit. But yes, so fun. And then Frankie Gray Fibres, which is Jodi's yarn company, was there, and she has a new base. I'll actually bring some of it right here. It's called Alpaca Cloud, and this is the flower bouquet colorway. And it's just a beautiful baby Surrey alpaca that's blown into Peruvian cotton core, basically. So soft. And do I have a sweater planned for it? No. Do I have enough yarn for a sweater? Yes. So this is going to be something beautiful. I can't wait. It's like, it's beautiful spring colors, but I don't think it's perfect for spring wear because it's kind of warm. But yeah, so I love that. So I don't know if you can see really close up, like the core. If you can, there we go. So that was very, very cool. So I bought some of her stuff. I also had a bunch of yarn ordered already that I wanted to make the Harvest Flower sweater by Jessie May. And so, oh, I actually have that back here too. So this is my colorways for that. I'll try to keep it out of the lights, but you can see this lollipop pink is going to be the flowers. Deep pine, that's going to be, I think that's the petals. And then this is grasshopper colorway, and that's going to be the like the centers and the leaves. And then it's going to be on stone is the colorway. So this is one of the kits that Jodi had put together, or Jodi or her daughter put together. And so I'm excited that I'm going to knit that. And as you can tell, I have big dreams, 2 hands. So I'm getting better. I mean, this is a 33-day sweater. So if I can do this, it's just, I apparently need to knit everything like on a size 10 US needle. That'll make everything work better. So again, retreats are where it's at. If you have the opportunity to go to one, they do cost a fair amount, depending on whether you have to travel for them or not. If you find one in your neighborhood, great. A great one to do, like a low cost one, is just to go have basically a sleepover at someone's house for a weekend and just knit. Everybody knits all weekend. We did that a couple times with my local knitting group, but it was really, really fun. We played some bingo. It's just a time to relax and kind of spend time and get to know each other while you're actually getting a lot of knitting done too. So gather. I think that's the message. It's a gather. You got to gather. Be with other people. If you don't have anybody in your neighborhood, you can look at like meetup.com, has a lot of knitting meetups. And then I know I found my knitting group on Facebook. I went into like a Be Neighborly group for my city and looked up, I typed in knitting and groups came up, and then I saw other people talking about like, oh, I'd love to knit with other people. So that all kind of came up, and it was really, really cool. So gather. If you have the opportunity, make the opportunity to gather if you can. I know not everybody has that privilege, but if you do, it's fantastic. It's a great way to connect. And one of the fun things is that you don't get all the time. As you can imagine, Tracie and Jodi have been knitting for a long time, and they've made a lot of things. And your things start to get out of control, and you have too many and too much and lots and lots. So they had some sweaters that they needed to give away, and they wanted to give them obviously to people who are knitworthy, who would appreciate them, take good care of them. And so it was basically, here's some sweaters on a table. If it fits you and you like it, it's yours. And so let me show you what I got. Just a second. So apparently the best way to get knitted garments is to get them from somebody else. Because seriously, okay, I saw this at the end of the table. No one was even eyes on it. It is so luxurious. It's the Solaire sweater by Joji Locatelli. And I think it was made as a sample for a knit shop. And it's made out of majestic fluff. So Frankie Gray Fibres Majestic Fluff, which is a mohair. So I don't know if you can see the mohair. Yeah, there's the fuzz. Isn't that nice? Little mohair fuzz. And I believe DK weight, and it's in the colorway Pretty in Pink. And so I was able to wear this as one of my items there. And it was really fun because basically I came in with one sweater and I left home with 3 sweaters. So this is one of the beautiful ones. I love that so much. And I happen to love pink, so that was just screaming to me. And there were still a few on the table that nobody seemed to be going after. And as you can tell, I like kind of a funnel neck boxy shaped sweater with lots of ribbing and stuff. And so this one is, let's see, I think this is the turtle dove sweater. And it's actually like a blue, and it looks like it's got a blown core as well, because you can see some of that white stuff that didn't take the dye as well as the blue did. Yeah, so that's a turtle dove. It's got really cute little slits on the side. And so, yeah, so I'm gonna give those a wash up, and I'll get to wear those probably for a few more weeks here before it gets warm again. And speaking of the weather in Canmore, so last year when we went, it was 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was way below 0 Celsius. So it was really cold, to the point where you couldn't stay out for too long. You wanted to make sure you had your gloves on. You didn't want to have, and it was a little icy, things like that. This year, it was like 40 degrees some days. And if you're here in 40 degrees, that's average winter weather. It's not, it's kind of manageable, moderate. And so it was kind of weird to walk outside in Canmore and be like, I could just use a sweatshirt or a sweater and I don't need anything else. And so we did a little bit of like sitting outside and knitting and in the sunshine. It was just so good. And you're watching, the 3 sisters are out there in the background in the Rocky Mountains. And it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful, beautiful place. So if you've never been there, I highly suggest going up to Canmore. It's outside of Calgary. So yeah, so that was my knitting retreat. I'm looking forward to next time. We've planned to make the Haisu. It's a sweater, like a short sleeve sweater by Vera Valimaki. And so that's going to be our joint knit that the 4 of us are doing. So if anybody else wants to go to Canmore or just wants to jump in on a little knit along with your buddies, let me know down below. Join us. So it's going to be the Haisu. I'll put the pattern right there. If you want to do that with us. And I picked out my stuff for it. It's a pretty, it's kind of a basic tee with a really cool patterning on it. And so I showed you this before. This is a massive cone of cotton alpaca. I got it at Knit City, Vancouver from Kensington Prairie Farms. And so this is going to be my main color. And then yesterday I went to the Knitter's Studio in Bellevue. So it's a relatively new studio knit shop around here. And I got some Lamana Premia. And so I'm going to combine those together. And it's a mohair and silk. So I wanted to use that to give this cotton alpaca a little bit of structure. So I'm excited to put that together. And I'm hoping that the yarn is big enough that I can actually crank through it pretty quickly. So very excited about that. So if you wanna join in, do a little Haisu action with us, join us. Yeah, we love company, as you can tell. And yeah, so it was amazing. Got to see some people, hang out with some people. Got to meet Terry again, saw Anne from, she's local. She's actually local here. I met Pamela. Yeah, I met Pamela, who knits with another friend of mine here. And so she was there as well. So it was kind of cool just to meet some new people who lived around me, but also see some people who were there last year as well and hang out. Like Nicole was there. I met Melissa, who I didn't know. Lotte was there. I remember always admiring Lotte's sweater. So it was fun to see her again and see what she was wearing. Yeah, so if you have a chance, retreat, gather and retreat. And so the next time I'm going on one of the Alaska cruises with the Grocery Girls again. And so you'll get to hear all about that in the fall. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Let's see. Let me consult my trusty notes that they were pretty rough this time. Let's see. So we already talked about FOs. This is my yarn. This is the only FO I have, unless you count spinning. So I did finish a spin. And so this was just some beautiful Hanui wool and silk from New Zealand. See if I can get a good color on that. Yeah, so from New Zealand. And it's pretty cool. I was able to get, I'm like, of course this is all white sectioning here, but I was able to get a little bit of barber pulling out of this colorway. And I was surprised because it felt like it was more black and white, but it's actually knitting up. Really cool. Let me put it this way so you don't have to see the barber cord. Yeah, so it's got some striping in it, and it's got a really lot of kind of creamy browns that I was not expecting as I was going. Now this is my, Andrea Mowry's doing a jaunty along, so it's a spin it to knit it. So I spun it and I started knitting it, and it took me a while to get the pattern. It took me till I was about here to really figure out, oh, this is what I'm doing and this is how the patterning goes. And so I've been cranking along. And then you're supposed to basically, it's great because whatever yarn you have, you just can use that whole thing. So basically what you're supposed to do is go to about 45% of what you've got, all of your yarn, and then start decreasing. So I'm right here and I realized I'm about 48%, and let's see if we can see how this fits. Not a lot of coverage, guys, not a lot. So the little tab right here, and I figure if I do a little bit more, the other tab will be right here, and that's never gonna stay on my neck. So I'm in a quandary. Hopefully you can help. What would you do? So I have a couple of options. When I blocked it, I got about 2.5 inches out of it. So it'll be another 2.5 extra inches from blocking on the other end, but that'll just double what I've got here. So my friend Angela suggested, instead of doing the increases at the same rate as suggested in the pattern, do them a little slower. So put more space in between each of the increases. And so basically it won't be as deep. It might be a little more shallow, but I'll have a little extra length. So that could work. That's one option. I also had thought of maybe if I can find another similar size yarn with the same kind of squish factor that this has, and I could do a panel of a solid color, and that might kind of be cool when it's all wrapped up with the ties and the arms kind of hanging down like that, and then have like a bulk of color right there. So what would you do? Would you slow down my increases and my decreases to make it a little bit longer? Would you add color to the center? And I mean, oh, I love the fabric. I wish you could feel it. Let me see if I can give you kind of a wing. It has a really beautiful squish factor. And it's half fisherman's rib, and it's just pretty amazing. I've never done half fisherman's rib, so that's what I learned on this project. Color's really cool. I enjoyed spinning, and this is the first time I've ever knit with my hand spun. So this is a big deal. And so that's why I want to make sure that it's something that I will use and wear, because the yarn and the fleece was precious. And I want to make sure that I can wear it. And it's literally the softest thing. There's not a prickle to be had anywhere in this. It's, oh, so good. And I got the original fiber from Wool and Waves at Knit City, Vancouver. So a lot of stuff happening up in Canada for me last year. So if you have suggestions, put them down below. What would you do? Would you add a new color into the middle of it? Would you just change up my increases so I can get it a little bit longer? Advice welcome. All right, so there's that. That was very exciting. So that's kind of an FO and a whip. So that'll be my transition into whip time. All right, so whips. Some of you are monogamous knitters. I'm not. I actually don't mind having a whole bunch of stuff to work on. Right now, I feel like I only have 3 things on the needles. One of them is the jaunty that I was working on. And then another one is, this is an oldie but a goodie, friends. If you've been here for a while, you've watched my saga of the Outline Tee by Jessie May. Okay. So this has been done cast on 5 times. It has been twisted 2 times. It has been too big 2 times, so I've had to size it down a couple times. The last time I did it, it was too big, and I have all this to show for it. And this is in Knitting for Olive. They're cotton merino. I mean, the color is gorgeous. I love it. I had to put it in timeout though because I was tired of it getting twisted. And some of you came up with some really great ideas, and I might try some of those next time. One person said just knit kind of a panel and then join in the round, and so that way you know it's straight, which seems like a really smart idea, because then all you have to do is kind of stitch up just the ribbing, like put the ribbing back together. Somebody else said if it's twisted, just twist your needles and untwist it and keep going. You might have a little twist at the bottom, but it won't be noticeable, and you can fix that when you seam in. So I had this done plus this much more, and then I cast it on and it got twisted again. And then I said, nope, you're going in timeout. And so that was probably September, October. I put it in timeout, and I couldn't because I couldn't tolerate doing it again, having it be twisted. And then I just felt like this thing was out to get me, and I really want the t-shirt, but I'm really tired of the failure. Even though failure is important, you fail, you learn, you fail, you learn. But I felt like I was failing and doing the same things over and over again, and I couldn't figure out why. So here's my solution. Go to a knitting retreat, take your project that's killing you slowly, and ask one of your nice friends, would you please put this in the round for me? I literally had all 296 stitches cast on. So those are all sitting and ready, but I'm like, I can't join in the round because I know if I join it, it's going to be twisted, and I can't do that. So at the retreat, Holly literally took it. She joined it together for me. She laid it all on the table, made sure that it wasn't twisted, joined it together. And then she was so kind as to do the first round of twisted rib the whole way around for me. She didn't balk because she said, what am I knitting? And I said, it's twisted rib. She's like, oh, but she did a whole round of twisted ribbing. And then I did it. I picked it up, took it home, and I did a round. It was fine. And then I did another round, and I'm like, it's twisted. How on the green earth is this thing twisted? And so she just told me, twist it back. So I did. So now I've made some progress. So let me show you what I've got right now. So this has been about a week's worth of work. Slow going still, but I have my twisted rib down here, and I'm really hoping that when I block it, it's not quite this sheer, because I can literally see everything through it. That's all right. So I have that, and now I just want it done. So I'm like, come on, finish. And I wish I was like Hermione from Harry Potter, and I had some knitting over here I could work on and some knitting over here I could work on, and then I could have some in my hands that I could work on. So I'm still knitting, but things are getting finished faster because, oh my gosh, this thing is killing me. But it's going, it's looking good. It's got some very cute stitch markers that I got. And I'll put the name of the creator down below. These really beautiful blown glass stitch markers. It was a whole set with one big fish and then some little bubbles. Little bubbles. All right, so that's Outline Tee by Jessie Maid. I'm making the size extra large, I think, now. So I went from a 3XL to a 2XL, now a 1XL. Hopefully that's the right size. And so that's just gonna sit in its little bucket thinking about what it did, but I'll get back to it. And instead of using a ball of yarn, I'm actually just taking it off of my failed last version. So literally you can see that's where I'm pulling from. That's my working yarn. And I'm just using this as my working yarn. I don't care. I'm not washing it. I'm not reballing it. I'm not doing anything to it. And then I have some other balls that once I get finished with this, which is hopefully sooner rather than later. Sorry for being so rudely interrupted. I'm gonna go into a rant on Apple for a second. So I'm using an iPhone for my video, and every single time I go to create a video, edit a video, upload the video, get the video ready to export it to OneDrive, whatever it is, my phone gives me the warning, oh, sorry, you don't have enough storage left. So I'm in the not enough storage, like hellhole with all of my devices. So I know I'm eligible for a new iPhone 17, but I don't like creating extra tech waste. And so that really hurts me in the heart. I want more storage, and creating videos and stuff needs more storage, but I also don't want to get rid of a phone that works okay. So I'm in a conundrum right now, but we're going to let my eco heart just settle down a beat. And if I had an Android, my husband said they have like storage options you can add. Wouldn't that be nice? But then I'd have to be using an Android, and I don't like that iOS or whatever it's called, the OS, because I is only for iPhones, and you know. Can you believe I used to work in tech? I did, like 13 years in high technology. So I'm very techy. Can you believe it? Okay. Anyway, where was I last time? So I was talking about this lovely little piece of work, the outline tee by Jessie Made, and this is going to be on the needles probably for a few months, is my guess. I mean, I've done this in a week, so maybe less than that. And I'm just hoping that, because you have to drop stitches down to get kind of those outlines, and I'm really nervous that something's going to go wrong and I'll have to redo it. And I don't think I have that in me. So that's when I might be hiring someone to knit for me. I typically don't want to have things knit for me, but that could be the thing that does it for me. All right, I'm actually putting that, I put that over my light, and so maybe it's a little less reflective on my face. Okay, before we were so rudely interrupted by my storage issues. All right, so that is my my outline tee. Love the color, love it, enjoying it. So basically while we were waiting, it took probably, you might see that the lighting has all changed because it's dark outside now. It's been probably about, I don't know, like half an hour, 45 minutes to get all that stuff uploaded to where it needs to be. Hopefully I didn't delete it. I uploaded it and stored it to OneDrive, and then I deleted it off my phone. Fingers crossed I didn't just delete it and it does exist somewhere. So otherwise this is going to be a lousy video. Okay, anyway. All right, so moving right along. I also have a pair of socks that I'm working on right now. So those are the, I'm doing the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm making a size large in those socks, and I'll put a picture right there because they're really pretty. And it's made out of the Farmer's Daughter Fibres Sock Squad from 2026. And January 2026 was all about blue. So it's got this beautiful speckles and just all tones of blue and shades of blue. So I'll put those right there so you can see them. That's my other project, my whip. I do have a lot of things that I want to get onto needles. So I want to do the Harvest Flower by Jessie Made, and I have the kit that I showed you earlier for that one. Last year I bought stuff for the Easy V tee, or the Easy V sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I really would love to do that one. The only challenge is when I bought it, I bought all of the yarn for the body, and then I only bought one of each of the Spincycle colorways that I was using, not realizing I needed two. And then I was watching Rachel and Renee of Table 10, and they were both talking about their colorways that they got, and they were showing off their colors, and I realized they had two each. And then I looked at the pattern and realized I need two each. So I was able to procure two more. So I was able to find Family Jewels. I needed one of those. And the other one was Straw Baby. I found one of those when I went to Sacred Sheep. The Spincycle booth had those, so that was great. I am still waiting to find Sex on the Beach. So if you have Sex on the Beach out there and you're willing to give one up, sell it to a girl, let me know. Comment below. Because I'm either going to have to change that colorway out for something different, which I'm sure I can find something beautiful and wonderful to swap it out with, and then just use that somewhere else. So I want to get that going, and I'm not sure if I can start and just put it on hold until I find the other yarn. So that's a whole thing. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of my life is like waiting for things to happen. And because it's part of that good enough. I want things to be just right. And so I wait and I wait and I wait. And this is when I have to remind myself, it's just got to be good enough. Like, you can put a different color in there, it will be fine. But I don't want to do all the work and then have the colors that I don't want. So that's where we're at on those. And then I'm also going to be getting the Haisu on needles pretty soon when I can find my size US 8s, because I can't find those. I'm like, they're in a project somewhere. So I have to dig through all my project bags and see what's missing. And I have like the big cozy cardi still sitting on needles waiting. So there's a few things out there, but boy, do I wish I had extra arms. So maybe another time. All right, so that's whips. That's what we've got going on. So now I'm gonna jump into acquisitions because as you know, I did go to a retreat and I did get some stuff. I acquired some things from that. I also got a couple of things in the interim. So I showed you the yarn that I just got yesterday to make my Haisu sweater. So I have that. That's the silk mohair that I'm going to get. I just got that from the Knitter Studio in Bellevue. And I showed you already the the Frankie Gray Fibres yarn that I'm going to be using for Harvest Flower sweater. And so there's also a few little beauty things over here. Oh, let me show you something. Guess what I found? The sock. It's in my Acorn Street shop bag. It's one of our local yarn shops, and turns out I actually used to work at Adobe in high technology with the owner of Acorn Street. So that's very, very cool. Here's the sock. It's gorgeous. I love it. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out what pattern to do, but it did. And so but I really like this one. Hermione's Everyday Sock, and that's the contrasting color that came with it. So put that away because I don't need that right now. And on the Farmer's Daughter fiber, I didn't pull out my February skein, but it's beautiful. Red is the color for February, which kind of seems very on the nose, but of course Farmer's Daughter does a beautiful, beautiful work with it. And something that they did this month that was kind of new and unique is they offered some minis. So if you wanted some high contrast minis to go with the basic color, everything is red in the February, but then you might want to add some other colors to it. I also need extra because my minis are never enough to do a heel, toe, and cuff because I have big feet. They're wide, and so they take up extra yarn. And so they offered a set of 5 minis that would coordinate beautifully with their red. And so this is 4 of them. And these are on Bighorn sock. So there's a really pretty it's kind of a golden mustardy color, which is really pretty. And then there's this kind of salmony pink, which is showing up a little more yellow than it actually is. A pretty minty blue, or a little lilac. And my husband's gonna get the red socks because he loves red. That's his favorite color. And he picked out, there's kind of a green that's kind of an olivey green, and that's gonna be the contrast color for those. So that's already put together, ready with those socks. So that was something I just got in the mail this weekend. And I love the option of different colors, because I could use extra minis. And it'll mean my socks can actually have a heel as well. It's just a cuff and a toe in contrast. So I'm very excited about that. Let's see. Harkening back to Canmore, when we walked in to the first night to get our name tags and do all the registration and stuff, our goodie bags were there. And these goodie bags are pretty amazing. So I don't know if you've heard of the brand Bustani. So that's Bustani. The products are made, I believe, in Ethiopia by women artisans there. And the Bustani bags are I just discovered them when I went to the Poets Cove, the Pender Island retreat. I bought one, and then so we came in, and these bags were sitting there with us with goodie bag, like just some yarn in there, some treats, some tea, some really wonderful things. So another reason to go to fiber events is these really cool goodie bags. You don't always get something this amazing, but this one was knock it out of the park. Great. So this was the bag that our goodies came in, and I have some of the yarn that I got as a part of that gift bag. So let's see. So we got Ginger Snap. She is a Canadian dyer. She put in this really cool mini, and it's like, it looks like hydrangeas. It's beautiful with some beautiful speckles in it. And again, let's see, she's Ginger Snap, made in Canada. Let's see if I can get that to focus without light on it. There we go. All right, so that's that. Then we also had 2 minis from Frankie Gray Fibres in there, DK weight 50 grams. And it's the Merino Nylon, the same blend that I'm using for both of the sweater quantities that I got for my Easy V and for my Harvest Flower. So this is a really beautiful lilac. And I have a thing for purples, so basically you sucker me in when you see a purple. We got to pick the bags based on the bag color and what was inside of it. And then this is a really minty green with some purple specks. And so could be really nice stripes or something else. I'll have to find something wonderful to do with these pieces of DK. And then there were some David's tea bags and some yummy caramels that I'm a sucker for a caramel. Those are really, really good. So thanks, Grocery Girls. That was delicious. And then part of like when we played the games, there was prizes and prizes and prizes and prizes. And so it's just fun. There's always some excitement happening. One of the prizes that I got was this majestic fluff from Frankie Gray Fiber. You can see just the beautiful tonality in here. That's so pretty. And I don't know if it has a colorway on here. This one doesn't have a colorway on it, but it's a little bit rose gold, kind of with some creamy tones, some pale golds maybe. Yeah, so this is beautiful. So I'm gonna definitely find somewhere to put this. And it's silk, cashmere, and baby alpaca. So nice stuff. All right, so, and I mentioned earlier that there were some bags that everyone was lining up for. And I'll show you the ones that I got. Another color I love is the combo of orange and pink. So bold, beautiful, super cool. So this is the tote. It's a really nice heavy canvas, and it's from Pink Hazel Bags. And I think you can see it, the subtle knit written on there. So her bags, a lot of them had like the silk screening with the word knit on them, or knitting. And I thought those were beautiful. It has an outside pouch, so if you want to like throw your water bottle in there or a phone or something like that. Very practical, very functional. Zippered pouch on the inside, which is, I mean, just the quality of the materials is incredible. And then a couple of open pockets on the side too. So that's the nice little tote. And I think this is gonna be great for like a shawl kind of size. And so I was looking for some bigger size bags because most of the stuff that I have is like sock sized or hat sized. And so I did want to get something that was more sweatery sized or t-shirt sized. And then here's the big kahuna. This is a big bucket tote. Let's see if this one is, it doesn't say what it's called, but it's really a heavy cotton canvas. And it's got the silk screening on there so you can see the knitting down the front. Again, I love pink, so I got pink. And then you can actually customize it. So I got a strap to go with it, so a bright pink strap. But you could also, if you didn't want to buy an extra strap, these buckle at the top, so you could actually close it together and hold it like that. So it's pretty handy and easy to either use at home or take with you. Like if you're going to a knit group, you can easily throw your wallet in here and your water bottle, and you're good to go. And so this one has, I mean, it's a cavern in here. It's really deep. So like, there goes my arm. It's magic. I have no arm left. Look, thing is so big. Yeah, so beautiful. I'm very excited to use this one. And it's even got some snaps across, so you can kind of guide your yarns through there. If you're doing some color work and you just want to split up your yarn colors, you can do that, and you have 3 separate places to go. And so, yeah, so very, very practical and super cute and really durable. So even if you don't use it for a project bag, it's a great tote. You can also get a crossbody strap for it as well. You could probably find yourself a strap somewhere else to just pop onto that too. Or if you're a weaver, you could weave your own strap. I'm not doing that. I will not be weaving. I'm putting that right here, right now. Becky is not a weaver. Becky's a spinner. Becky's a knitter. Becky's a crocheter, but she is not a weaver. And she's not a dyer either, because color theory is not my jam. I'm not great at it, and I would prefer other people do that for me. All right. So let's see where we're at. Acquisitions. Oh, and I was talking about those really cute little stitch markers with the little fish and the little bubbles. So here's the bubbles, and then there was the big fish. Let's see if I can find the big fish. Fishy, fishy. Why are you sleeping? Oh my gosh, he's so cute, little kissy face. Those are from Northern Crow Creations. So another Canadian maker. So I really, really, really like those, and the quality is, they're really nicely made, and they're beautiful, just beautiful. So I supported a lot of makers. I also got some fiber from Stash Lounge, and so I had bought my Spincycle last year from them, and I bought some fiber this year. And so we're going to shift a little bit into acquisitions, but it's going to focus on fiber because I do spin some and I want to spin more. And I was heavily spinfluenced by Table 10, because those girls, when they start something, they dive in head first, and they were buying fiber before they even had spinning wheels. But some of the fibers that I was seeing them making were really just beautiful. I love kind of the pastel colorways and the way that they were all blending together. And so I too decided to join a fiber club. I used to get dip powder nail subscriptions, and I've had different subscriptions over the years, and now I have a fiber subscription, I guess, along with my yarn subscription. So let me show you what I've got. Okay, so at Canmore, I got this really yummy bat from Northern Crow Creations as well. And I just loved the moody purples and just the brightness of the blues, but it didn't make it look, it wasn't like a super sky. It was kind of a dark, moody sky. So I love that for fall. So that'll probably be spun up and then plied with something fall-like. And then I also got, and I believe this one I got from Stash Lounge. And I just adore the raspberry and the orange. And it's already, it's roving, Rambouillet and Finn, called Anthophile. And so by Knit Brooks. But I just thought that would be so cool. You can actually knit with it if you want to, because it's an unspun fiber, but I have no interest in fighting with my yarn. I do enough fighting with stuff that I don't need to add yarn to it. And so it's just, I love the colorway. I think that's gonna be fun to see how that actually plies up when it's all done. So those were the two treasures that I got from Canmore for roving and fiber. And then, so I was spinfluenced, like I said. I joined Nest Fiber Club. And so Nest Studios Fiber Club, it's basically a once a month club. You can get like just 4 ounces. You can get a double of 8 ounces. You can get luxury fibers. You can get regular fibers. I went for the kind of the standard fiber club, just a single every month, because I think these would be really nice all blended together and plied up together to make some 3-plies. So I could get some really nice 3-plies throughout the year. So basically, I ordered, when you join the club, you have access to old ones that still exist. So I got a bunch of older colorways that were still in existence. Let's see. And they have really nice combinations. Like this is Smitten, it's Polworth. And then this one is Daydream, and it's a Rambouillet. Oh, like the colors are just so good. And I can see these blending up really nicely together. And let's see, so this one, I don't even think I can try this name. It's a mixed merino, and it's Herbs Laub Treat Vergnügni. Maybe if you speak German, if that's German, you can do a little recording and send it to me and tell me how that's said, because that's a lot of word. Let's see. And then Antidote, Targhee, and Bamboo Silk. So that's going to be a nice, maybe like a spring weight fiber. So pretty. And then this is February 2024. It's a Hanami Polworth and a little bit darker coloring. So I could see this going really nicely with one of the lighter fibers. Yeah, so it was really, really nice, gorgeous things. And the Smitten one is actually is it the February? No, it's the January colorway. So that's January's, and I'm gonna get February and March will arrive. I think she said at the end of March. So I'm very excited. She has amazing customer service too. So Nest Fiber Club. So if you're interested in getting fiber on a regular basis, great club. You can actually stop it whenever you want to. You can also buy it in like 3-month chunks. And so it's a very flexible plan to see if you like it, can you work through all the fiber that you get? And so I'll do it for a little while, see how it goes and see if I'm able to keep up with it. But so she and I were communicating back and forth and she was just great. So I highly recommend Nest Fiber Club if you're looking for some fibers. All right, so that's my spinning. I think that's my whole spinning section. So you're off the hook. You don't have to worry about spinning. If you don't spin, you don't even have to forward. I showed you pretty stuff. It'll become yarn and we can talk about the yarn that it'll make and the knitting that we'll do with it. So no need to worry about that. All right, let's see. Can that possibly be it? I mean, as you know, I could talk for days, but I don't want to because I think that you guys would be bored and I would run out of things to say. Let me see. That's everything I wrote down. So I'm hoping to have this up this week. And so all of my friends who join me at Canmore will be able to watch it, as well as I know the Grocery Girls will be posting this week too. So make sure you watch their podcast on Thursday, and I'm hoping I can get this up before that. I'm trying to really get better at doing things faster. And so hopefully you'll see me posting a little more often. I do have some fiber travel coming up, so we'll talk about that. We also have graduations. My oldest is graduating college in just a month technically. And my friend's daughter's graduating, so we're gonna go to her graduation. And so it's just really gonna be an exciting time of graduations again and kids moving into their grown-up lives and things like that. So there'll be a lot to talk about this year. And so I appreciate you hanging around. If you've been here the whole time, thank you so much. And you know that you and I are gonna be best friends if we're not already. And I appreciate you taking the time to join me for this little journey through Canmore and beyond. I hope you have a great week, weekend, month, and you make something wonderful that just brings you joy and happiness. Bye.
Gotta check your yarn on fire up there.
I'm not gonna. Do I have to turn it on first? Oh, there we go. Ooh. Okay. To make sure I don't knock anything over here. All right, let's get started.